Welcome back to the Slanted Attic Experience. I'm your host, Tyler, and this is episode 68. The sports room is back for round 10, and Liam and Graham are locked in for what might be the most loaded sports calendar we've covered all year. We open with LeBron's newest move, get into Philadelphia's roster construction, and debate whether the Phillies can actually make a run or if the Dodgers have the playoff picture wrapped up already. Graham and Liam bring in the EPL with the new season underway and notable transfers already shaking things up. Then, the NFL takes over completely. Early season storylines, injuries, a full fantasy football breakdown with top-ranked players, late round targets, and who we're riding with this season. The Eagles' outlook, Pittsburgh's backup quarterback situation, divisional winner picks, and the CFB preseason AP Top 25 poll close things out. The fall sports calendar is here, and this episode covers all of it. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. Welcome back to a pinnacle episode of the Slanted Attic Experience. I am joined by the boys once again today for another sports room series. And guess what? Today is episode 10. We've been through 9 of these already, which is crazy. Spanned, almost 2 years, fellas, since we started doing this. And couldn't be more excited to get back on here again for the 10th time to chat about football, baseball, Premier League, and the pinnacle topic that's been on everybody's minds for the last 2 weeks since it has happened. LeBron James to the Philadelphia 76ers. We have a in-house fan. I'm sure we're all excited to hear from him. But as an outsider, this feels to me like the Luka Doncic trade. It feels like, when we talked about investigating the Patriots for the A.J. Brown trade last episode, this seems like a little bit of canoodling to me, the fact that LeBron's going to potentially the best starting 5 in the league and looking for another NBA championship. But what are y'all's thoughts? Thanks for coming again, fellas. Always excited to be here.
Go ahead, Graham. I want to hear you.
Yeah, Tyler, thanks for having us
Yes,
as always.
sir.
I gotta say, in previous times where LeBron has gone to different teams, it's clear that he's gonna be the main piece and move to a different team, and he's gonna be like the main guy going forward. And it wasn't seen as ring chasing because he's still leading the team. But I think this time specifically, you could probably argue it is a tad bit of ring chasing. Not saying he doesn't, at this point of his career, isn't allowed to do that. But I think this point in his career, this free agency specifically, he was kind of looking at it kind of like Tom Brady did when he left the Patriots of, what's going to be the best fit where I'm going to have to do the least amount of work in order to get back to winning a championship. And I think looking at all of his options, I think Philly was probably the best bet, and he took way less money to do it. And I think the Jaylen Brown trade kind of cemented that. I don't think he probably would have gone there if it weren't for the Jaylen Brown trade. So I think having kind of 3 go-to guys on a team where he can be more of just a, facilitator, catch and shoot guy. He's not going to be the main ball handler. He's not going to have to carry the load on the team in the same way that he did. Even when he was on the Lakers, even after they traded for Luka, Luka was hurt a lot, and he often had to carry the load for the team. So I think it's a great bit of business for Philly, great deal for Philly. I think it works perfectly with LeBron as well. I think the expectation is probably championship. I don't know if they'll win it, but
Got 2 years, though.
We'll kind of wait and see. I do think LeBron going back to the East, I think he's, makes sense because the West, I feel like it's been this way for 20 plus years, over 20 years, but the West has been the supreme conference, and everybody has been always saying, well, the East will finally take over. The East is finally going to take over. I think the Knicks won it this year. The Celtics won it a couple years ago. But I still think the West is the dominant conference. When you've got OKC, the Nuggets, the Rockets,
Timberwolves,
the Spurs, the Timberwolves. So there's just a lot more competition out West. And I think in the East, it's really the Celtics and the Knicks that they're going to have to worry about. Maybe the Cavs, but and the Celtics are, who knows how they're going to be this year without Jaylen Brown. So
yeah. I want to add something really quick before we let Liam go on his tirade about how good this team's going to be, because no denying the facts. I mean, this is a stellar starting five. These guys are immaculate basketball players, each and every one of them. But I wanted to make
best starting five in the NBA.
Right, easily. And I wanted to say, LeBron is historically like a 20, what does he score per game, points per game, like 20 to 22, something like that, maybe even more.
Sure.
And not getting the focus of the defense quite like that is going to be super interesting to watch him take hold of this year. I mean, I don't remember the last time LeBron was on a team where he didn't get, like Graham said, he was the ball handler. He was the pinnacle player on that team, but he got the treatment accordingly. Like now that he is, quote unquote, a 3 guy on Philly, they got to worry about Embiid and Maxey as well, right? Like when you have an opportunity to probably be against worse defenders, even at LeBron's age, I mean, I feel like he's going to go off, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you could argue he's the fourth option.
Sure.
Behind Jaylen Brown.
He should be.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. When's the last time LeBron was the 4th best player on a team, bro?
He's never been. He's never been the 4th option on a team. He's never even been the 3rd option on a team.
Which is crazy, dude. The longevity of this man is crazy. And the fact that he signed a 2-year deal with Philly, that means to me
he's playing both.
Yes, he's playing both, and he has confidence his body's gonna hold up to do that.
Yeah.
Graham, I feel like you hit all the basketball points on it pretty much. Like without Jaylen Brown, no shot that happens. I don't even think they're in consideration for him until the Jaylen Brown trade. I was gonna say I haven't loved the NBA as much in the last 5 years. I feel like the game's gone down. But I still love that crazy trades and free agency things happen like this all the time, because it's easily the most famous athlete to ever even sign in the city of Philly. I guess you could say Allen Iverson, but I feel like LeBron James is a whole different level. And even you were saying about his longevity, I was talking to my little brother, and he was maybe trying to name athletes that are famous and more famous than him, and I was like, dude, Declan, when were you born? And he was 2003. I was like, dude, this man came into the league the year you were born, and he's still playing in the NBA. He's been in the NBA. This is my little brother's entire life, which is just
that's unreal,
crazy. Yeah, but I think he'll just slot right in. He fits in perfectly to the team. He doesn't have to score if he doesn't want to. He can just facilitate and pass. Maxey had one of his best years catching and shooting off James Harden, and LeBron's probably just as good a passer as James Harden. I think he's just going to fit into the team beautifully. Him and Joel played on the Olympic team together too, so they've at least played together before. And then everyone's not talking. I feel like people are almost forgetting about Jaylen Brown now that they've gotten LeBron. And then they also have BJ Edgecombe, who I think is going to benefit greatly from having LeBron. They signed Anthony Simons from Boston too in free agency, who's a really good signing. And they signed Dean Wade, who I think is going to be a really, really good signing for them too. So they really rounded out their roster. I also think nobody is more open than when Joel's on the court, because it takes 3 to 4 guys just to defend Embiid. So Jaylen Brown is probably going to be more open than he's ever been in his entire life. Maxey's going to be open again because of Joel and LeBron. LeBron's going to have more space than he's ever had because Embiid's there on the pick and pop. If that guy doesn't come out, that's an easy jumper for Embiid at the free throw line every single time. Then in transition, LeBron can run, Jaylen Brown can run, Maxey can run, Edgecombe can run, so they'll be able to play transition basketball too. Yeah, I think too, going back to the East Coast, I've seen a lot of people saying how many Lakers LeBron games have you watched? And I feel like not that many if you live on the East Coast, because they're all on at 10 p.m. He's back in prime time on the East Coast.
Great
First
point.
game's at Madison Square Garden. It's going to be sick. But like, yeah, I'm just like, it's almost still fake that he signed here. I actually can't believe it. And he's fitting right in. He's gonna fit right into the roster. It's awesome.
Order the jerseys from DH Gate now, fellas.
Yeah, yeah. Don't support fanatics. They're trash.
Nah, man, it is almost unbelievable. This is the most excited I've been to watch NBA basketball in a long time. You know, obviously, you guys are not Graham, but Liam, you're a Philly fan. Grace is a Philly fan. I'm surrounded by people who love Philly sports, and just the excitement surrounding this team is unbelievable.
The games are going to be electric.
Yeah.
They're going to be electric.
But, however, my only large counterpoint to that is it almost seems, and I don't want to like call it before it happens like a voodoo moment or anything like that, but like when Philly has all this expectation, it seems sometimes they can't deliver. Most of the time they can't deliver. And when they're not expected to do well, which I think, or not expected to do well, just not in the spotlight, I think they thrive. When you guys are the underdog, you want to be, you know, the odds against you. You know what I mean? And we saw that when y'all won the Super Bowl. What was it, 2 years ago? You just smoked everybody. I mean, it wasn't even close.
The best team in the league.
Oh, easily. But going into the season, I think the expectations were lower than the you know, what was it, 2 years prior when y'all went and lost to the Chiefs. I'm just saying, like, I feel like the city of Philadelphia loves to be an underdog is, I guess, the blanket statement.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's the last time they went to the finals, it was AI, and they were the 1 seed, but it was kind of like a scrappy fight through the playoffs.
Right.
I think it'll be interesting because it's obviously championship or bust, but that's like almost an unreal expectation to an extent.
Yeah.
I like the Brady comparison a lot, and I feel like he's like kind of ring chasing because it was the best roster he could have went to, but like Joel's never even been past the second round, so I don't know how you can say it's like that big of ring chasing. Like it's not like the Sixers, even with Jaylen Brown, were like favorites to win the title or anything like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's complete ring
like,
chasing.
Yeah, but it's like the right fit for it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I do think the East is really like tight. I think that like 2 through 6 you could easily flip on like 3 games, but I feel like the West has all the heavyweights, so you can like I think it benefited New York that San Antonio and Oklahoma City had to go play each other in that Western Conference Finals, and then the East just has an easier road.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know, man. There's so much hype surrounding it. I'm so excited. I
I also think too, just with Philly sports in general, like Tyler, you had mentioned they thrive being the underdog. I also think it's a factor of the environment. You know, it's kind of like it's not a huge market like in New York or in LA, but it's a huge weight on your shoulders of once you go there, the expectations heighten and the criticism heightens.
Yep.
So if you do well, you're a hero, you're praised, you're loved. As soon as you mess up, as soon as you start to do poorly, then it's constant criticism, constant booing, constant bashing, get out of here, we don't want you anymore. You know, and so I don't think LeBron coming there, and if they don't do well, LeBron is to necessarily blame for that. So I don't think that'll necessarily be the case, but I do think he will get the blame if they start to do poorly. You know, I think that the weight will shift towards him more so than any other player, just because he's the most popular, the most polarizing player.
Very interesting.
And I think
I like that.
He's easy to dog on. Like Philly's not gonna, if they start to do poorly, they're not gonna dog on Maxey or Embiid because those are the golden boys that have been there for a while.
Embiid
and then I think
on 24/7.
Yeah, Embiid
get
trashed.
Yeah. He does, but that has nothing to do with his play on the court. That's just because he can't stay healthy. But
yeah, very interesting point. I think it has a lot to do. You know, this is the Sports Room podcast, so we'll keep it mostly sports, but it has to do with the people in Philadelphia, the people that reside there, the blue collar history, things of that nature. I think people, just band together over sports. As simple as that sounds, I think it means a hell of a lot to everybody that's there. I mean, Liam, I'm sure you can speak to that. What do all the fucking bars look like when you guys go out to watch a game? I bet you every single bar is packed out the door. People screaming.
I mean, it's just like every person everywhere too. Like you go to work on Friday, every single office is doing Eagles Friday, and every single person is wearing Eagles gear. Every nurse, is wearing their Eagles scrubs. Just like it's every single person in the city, which is cool. Like they're all into it.
It just means more to the city than it does.
It's just like
in
part
other
of the
cities.
fabric of the city. So it's like just like your daily life is like, what did the Sixers do last night? What did the Flyers do last night? And
can't say the same for can't say the same for DC. Nobody's wearing Commanders jerseys on the Friday before.
You could go out right now and you'll
Sunday
find some 65-year-old dude wearing an Eagles jersey walking his dog, and it's like, dude, it's the middle of August, it's 85 degrees outside, he's got his Eagles jersey on. Like,
yeah,
100%. I mean, I see it all the time. There's a lot of teams that have fans that are proud to rep them. I think Pittsburgh is one of those cities. Maybe not
100%.
Die hard to the Philadelphia extent, but I'm proud to be a Steelers fan. I think the people that are Pittsburgh fans love to be Pittsburgh fans. You know what I mean?
I totally agree.
Yeah. Well, I think it's part of, where you're from.
Yep.
A lot of it too, and the mentality of the area. And a lot of the people that grew up, like if you were a Pittsburgh Steelers fan or you were an Eagles fan, you grew up watching those games with your family, with friends. There's a tie to that. So even when you move away, you still kind of have that fan base. You still have a tie to that team, more so than like, let's say you grew up in Tampa Bay. Sure, you're a Buccaneers fan, but I don't think there's the same tie there. One, because they're a newer team, but also it's just not to diss or call out Tampa Bay specifically. I mean, I'm a Panthers fan. I'm not as diehard of a fan as Liam is of the Eagles or you are of the Steelers, for sure. And it's more so just because I also grew up in an area where professional sports wasn't as big. Like I grew up in a college dominated area where college sports was the dominant thing. So I think a lot of it has to do with that, in the specific areas. If you're from Jersey, you're from Connecticut, you're from the Northeast, you have a more tie to a professional team because you grew up watching them and you didn't really have a college team to root for until you went to college.
Yep.
And then you became a fan of the team that you went to college to.
Yep. Me.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that it's a lot different. And I would say the same thing with the South too. Like if you're from the South, you generally have more of a tie probably to your college team than you do to any NFL team.
Dude.
And that's a lot of it's just geographically based.
Yeah, we need to do like a statistics map or map out like the popularity of professional versus college. Because I was about to comment on that, man. The Northeasterners, we fucking love our football, man. Like, we love our professional football. I mean, everybody's about it. Like, even when you go travel up in Philly or the Philly airport, like, people wearing jerseys, obviously mostly Eagles, but, like, people like to rep. Like, people are watching every Sunday. It's what is it? There's a saying, but it's like Sunday, wake up, go to church, watch football. You know what I mean? Like, people are about it, man. Like, that's what they watch. I consider myself
and
one.
You go
one
to
of
the
those
South,
people, right?
and it's the reverse with college
Saturdays.
Football, Saturdays.
Yep. Yeah. What you guys doing this Saturday? Oh, huge tailgate, whatever. And in the North, it's like, what you doing on Sunday? Which, I don't know. I low-key wish the NFL played on Saturdays more often because it would be more fun to have beers and then not wake up hungover at the office on Monday. But, can't have everything, I guess. But yeah, man, LeBron to Philly, unbelievable. I'm sure we'll talk about it much more in podcasts to come. Any final stuff there before we kind of move on to like playoffs and EPL?
Yeah, just kind of a funny side note. What do you think? What do y'all think's gonna happen with Bronny?
I think he'll get signed
Do
to
you
Philly.
think? Do you think he's
I
gonna
don't
even
think
be
so.
it? Well, is he gonna even like?
I don't think we have a roster spot for him. to
Yeah, I
be
don't think he's gonna
100%
sign with
honest.
Philly. Is he gonna stay with the Lakers? I mean,
Yes, he's got a house there.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see because
They just
I feel
dumped
like
him.
he has improved, but I don't even know if he's at the level where if LeBron's not there, he's even good enough to stay on the team.
I got
But
no bad things about anything to do with LeBron James. So
I mean, I
sign
got
him.
nothing.
Sign
I got
Bronny.
nothing bad
Bring
to
him to
say.
town if that makes LeBron happy.
I got nothing bad to say about
Yeah.
Bronny, but
Whatever the man wants.
I think it was, you know, a situation
Yeah.
where
He's just
I
playing the
think
G League.
they brought him
Play.
in because LeBron was playing, and I don't know if he's gonna maintain the.
We
Oh,
just see if he develops in the G League, and then if
yeah,
not, trade him or something.
yeah,
Or see if he can make the team.
Yeah, especially if it keeps the man happy, so to speak. I mean, what's he taking? 8-9 million a year for 2 years? I mean, that's crazy. But
I was also thinking it's funny how far with contracts that we've come that someone's making $4 million a year, and you're like, oh, it's only $4 million.
right.
and it's the
Guy's playing
it's the
basketball for 2
minimum.
years. He's making $8 million. Like
Yeah,
that's
he's
crazy.
making $8 million a year in 2 years, and that's the minimum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's based on like I think we talked about it like Sports Room 2 or something like that, right? That's like the vet minimum contract amount
Yeah.
per the years that he's played in the league, correct? So like if
Mhm.
he's played 8
Mhm.
years, that's much more than a 4-year vet.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think the lowest guys are making probably $1 million, something like that, a year.
Right.
But
Still
Are
nothing to
you a
shake your
Hornets
fist
fan?
at.
what's that?
Are you a Hornets fan, real quick, before we switch? Or
Not really. No,
Okay.
I don't really have an NBA team.
Graham's
I
a
never really
Jokic
have.
fan.
I would say if I do have a team, it's the Nuggets, just because I'm a big Jokic guy. But I've always been more of, especially in the NBA, I've been more of a fan of players than teams. I'm kind of that way with most professional sports. I feel like I'm drawn more to just watching players, and I enjoy players. Although having a team to root for does make it much more enjoyable to watch, I would say. But
Yeah.
For sure. I was gonna ask about LaMelo Ball if you cared, but I don't really care. So
yeah, I don't know. I do think it was probably for the best
I agree.
for them going forward, but yeah, I don't think they're ever going to be. They're never going to be like a successful franchise. I just think there's too many problems within the organization. I think. I don't know the details of it, but if you've been in an organization and you haven't had success for 20 years as a franchise,
Literally zero.
you're probably doing something wrong. You know, it's kind of like the Kings. It's like they had 1 year where they were good, and then now they're back to where they were before. It's kind of like, okay, that was obviously a fluke.
It took one
No.
season.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Wow. All right. So, MLB, playoff baseball. Then we'll get into the Premier League, which starts this week, I believe, or next week, as Liam had suggested. Liam, your Phillies are making a push here. Yankees expect to get Judge back soon. Since we've chatted last, the Red Sox have won like 35 games. Yeah, a lot of shit happening. Although I feel like they're returning to the mean a little bit. They've lost a couple of their last like 10. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, a few favorites hanging around, a.k.a. the Los Angeles Dodgers. who would expect that? Tariq Skubal being traded by the trade deadline. Also, oh my God, who would have expected that? He literally sat out of the World Baseball Classic because he wanted to protect his arm for his contract year, and took up a roster spot. I'm still peeved about that, so he's not my favorite. But super team, Los Angeles Dodgers at it again this year. Do we realistically think anybody else has a shot?
I mean, I guess in baseball, anyone's always got a shot.
You're right. It's a long series.
It's just hard to win, and stuff just happens in baseball.
But I mean, when it comes down
to
to
it,
it,
for their money.
yeah, they did. I think when it comes down to it, though, especially in the playoffs, it's all about pitching. And as you know, as we've seen, the Dodgers have a couple aces, and I think, I don't know, I've always been of the mindset of everybody loves the big scores, but I'm not a baseball purist by any means, but I love watching like a 1-0 pitcher duel. There's something about it that just it's fun to watch. It's not necessarily like the most entertaining, but I definitely enjoy it because you're always on the edge of your seat. It's you're watching a pitcher kind of at his peak of his powers, fooling the batters, that sort of thing. And I feel like watching the World Series last year, Yamamoto and what he was able to do, I think if he can do something similar this year, I don't think there's anybody that has a chance.
Yeah. I wanted to make one quick note on what you were saying there, Graham, about watching like a pitcher's duel. We don't really get that anymore. They have changed the rules of America's pastime, as in baseball. We all have grown to know and love it. If you live in America, you have to watch baseball. But over the past few years, they've made some significant rule changes that to the unknowing, just a casual fan, has changed it drastically. Most notably, the pitch clock. They've changed up the type and composition of the baseballs, the size of the bases, which now makes it more enticing for runners to steal, and it's just that much closer in a game of inches to get to first base. Especially as a lefty, you hit a nice sacrifice bunt down the left base or the third base side, down the left side, you might make it to first. They've just made a lot of rule changes in the past few years that have allowed teams to score, I guess, more often. And yeah, that's fun. Like Graham was saying, it's fun to see home runs. That's why we all loved the summer of 1999 when what was it? Sosa and McGuire were hitting. They had like 45 or 50 by August.
all of us remember that, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But but yeah, exactly. Infant at that time. But I was just trying to make a point. They're trying to increase the offense, just like in the NFL. I think sell more tickets, people get more excited about the game. But as Graham said himself, he said he's not a purist, but the purists at heart really do enjoy the pitching battles.
Yeah, I think we're in an era of gross pitching right now. Like, guys are throwing stuff that's just never been thrown before, and hitting is harder than ever.
That's also true.
You're coming in with like a 99 plus fastball, and then your off speed changeup is like 92, 95. Like, I just don't know how you're supposed to hit anything.
Yeah, I want some of those umpire cams just to show me pitches over and over and over. Watch what these guys see real time, because like you see the ABS, but that like shows an arc of it. Like, I want to see the real body cam footage of like a full at bat. Watch the difference between, if you could even tell if it's a curveball when it's coming at you 87 miles an hour. You know what I mean? You just like, oh my God, it's about to hit me, and you turn away, and all of a sudden it's in the catcher's mitt. You know what I mean? Like, these guys have to recognize so much. It's wild.
Yeah.
But Dodgers, that it? Phillies making a run?
Dodgers. I don't think so. They don't have the offense to do it. They do have the pitching, though. So I think their best chance would be beating getting the Dodgers in the first wild card round. just because it's 2 of 3. You don't have to do best of 5. It's just best of 3. You go, you could throw Sanchez, Wheeler, or Luzardo, any mix of those 3, for any 3 of those games, really, and have a decent shot at winning. We have the pitching to do it. Our bullpen is shaky, though. So we've also had a lot of playoff losses, like 2-0. Bullpen comes in, bang, 3-2, just like that. But I feel like it's the Dodgers. I think Tampa Bay is good. I think the Yankees are good, but I don't know if anyone can stick with LA. They did it last year with Glasnow and Snell. They're doing the same thing. They've been on the IL all year. Now, conveniently, they're like healthy and slowly starting to come off the IL, and then they're ready for the playoffs. They did it last year. I swear they're doing it on purpose.
That's crazy.
They're not even hiding it.
I didn't even notice that. That's not legal, I would assume, or allowed?
I can see them actually being hurt with something. I don't know, but it just seems ridiculous that 2 years in a row, the same 2 guys
Hey,
are now coming back and healthy right before the playoffs.
Hey, you heard it here first. Conspiracy theory.
Saying.
Other people
Just
are probably
saying.
talking about it, but hey, it's real.
You better enjoy baseball while it lasts because the lockout is coming.
That's right. That's
100%.
right.
So
that's actually a great point. Let's spend a little time and talk about that a little bit. My knowledge is somewhat limited. I understand kind of the 2 sides and perspectives of it, but do either of you guys know a decent bit about it? All I know is that they're contract value, salary cap type deal, contract length is what they're arguing over.
yeah, I think we've probably seen them same release proposals. I don't know if anything concrete has actually been released. Obviously, salary cap is the main battle, and the owners want it, and nobody else. The players don't want it. There are people who are saying that there are other conspiracy theories about why Scooble got traded to the Dodgers. That was no other GM wanted to make a trade, so that the Dodgers had to do it. So then it would look like the Dodgers are doing this super team thing. So then everyone would be on the side of the owners and say, no, let's do a salary cap.
Right.
So I think they want a cap and a floor. I think they should just do a floor. I think the biggest problem is underspending.
I agree. I'm a first-hand victim, bro. You can see the shirt that I'm wearing. I'm a first-hand victim, bro. I'm a Pirates fan. If we had a floor,
I've seen things with they want to shorten contract lengths and things like that.
Yeah.
I think that's just so they can all pay the players less money, essentially.
Got a lot of cheap owners.
Yeah.
I mean, all the private equity firms coming in, buying up teams, trying to save costs. It's not as much about winning now.
Yep. Yeah. That's an interesting point that you made, Liam, though. I didn't realize that was a thought process on the internet.
Yeah, I saw people floating that out.
Yeah,
I was like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, hey, man, passes the gut check. It makes relative sense. They want to pin it on somebody, and sports owners have been known to do things more egregious in the past. So,
yeah. I will say they have a very good farm system, and they've always been very good at that, and that helps them so much because they actually have people to trade. The Phillies had nobody to trade. We couldn't even give you anybody. Our farm system is garbage. They're the best team in the league, and they've had the best farm system in the league for years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's tough.
because they can pay the best scouts.
True.
Yeah, if you got the most money, you can buy the best players. You can buy the best scouts.
Yep. Definitely helps being in that large of a market too.
Yeah.
Historical franchise.
Yep. I mean, our revenue is high. We're mid-tier for team revenue, but we're still bottom third for spending. We've made some attempts at bringing our salary floor up this past season. There are, if you guys can believe it, teams that spend less than the Pittsburgh Pirates. Unbelievable, if you ask me.
The Oakland Athletics.
Yeah, exactly. Let's pull up the list actually. 2026 MLB.
It says they said the maximum would be set at $245.3 million, and the floor would be $171.2 million.
171.
Yeah.
So that would force us to spend $65 more million.
I think half the league or some crazy number of clubs are under the floor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It would be
Says
16 teams.
Says here 10
Or
of 30 clubs
15.
would have fallen in between the cap floor. So 20 of the teams are out of it.
Yes. So there's
A
14
proposal
teams
just
that would
makes
be
no
low
sense to me based off that.
and
but
6 teams that would be high. So actually, the Athletics
We're
aren't even
over.
that far behind the Pirates, Graham.
I think St. Louis is down there.
St. Louis is also down
Yeah.
there. The lowest
St.
spending
Louis.
team coming in
Tampa
at
Bay.
$77 million
Reds,
with 60 wins is the Cleveland Guardians.
the Guardians. Huh?
And then
They should
at
trade- they should
64 and
trade.
62, the Miami Marlins. And then we have the St. Louis Cardinals, like Liam had suggested, also 64 and 62. And then we have the Athletics at $97 million. They're 49 and 76. Washington have a surprisingly decent season. They're under 100 million payroll. And then the rest of the teams are above 100 million, but the White Sox are at 102, Pirates 106, Rays 107, Rockies 113, Minnesota 114, Cincinnati 132, Milwaukee 143, Kansas City 148, and then we get to 150 million and above. We'll just go all the way to the top. It's Mets at 319, Dodgers at 311, Yankees 294, Philly 287, Toronto 281, Atlanta 258, and then surprisingly, I didn't know Chicago was spending like this, and they have a pretty good record. They're at 240, and then most of the rest of the teams will be in between that threshold, as you suggested, Liam. Those would be all the teams that would be outside it. So, interesting proposal.
Yeah.
It would make us
I've got
spend.
26 guys on a roster and only spend like $100 million.
I mean, who are we really
That's
paying?
crazy.
We're paying Brian Reynolds, not
Doesn't mean
paying
you
Paul
pay nobody.
Skeens,
That's how they do it. They
and
pay
then
nobody.
we're paying what's his face that's injured, the rookie kid. God, I can't remember his name. The young,
Connor Griffin.
Connor Griffin. And then O'Neal Cruz, I guess, demands a little bit of money. I'm trying to think who else. I mean,
Not on his rookie contract still.
I don't think so.
I think he would.
I think we signed him. I don't know. Regardless, we're poor. And the Dodgers are literally spending 3 times as much money as we are. But like you had suggested, this would change it up. I realistically and honestly think that there should only be a floor. I think you brought up some good points. I think it would allow teams to spend minimum amounts of money and then still allow teams like the Dodgers to thrive in that environment. But I think it would decrease the parity, especially in baseball, as you suggested earlier, in these, not maybe necessarily the wild card rounds, maybe the mid divisional rounds and stuff like that, where it's 5-game series, and you got to go through a decent roster. And now all of a sudden, the Pirates have 2 superstar pitchers because Paul Skeens is on his rookie contract, and we were able to sign another guy because we're required to spend a little bit more. And then we've got
Okay, which means the Dodgers
Yeah.
lost one.
Right.
Because he didn't sign there. He went somewhere else because they could pay
Yeah.
him. Like,
right. So
I agree. I don't think there should be a cap because it limits the amount that players can get paid. So it would limit the big star players. A lot of times, like, they may start in a small market and then they go to a bigger market team because they're able to get a lot more money than they would if they were on a small market team. And then you just limit that cap. I would say it makes it more competitive, and it makes it so that maybe some of those guys would end up staying on those small market teams more. But I think it does limit their ability to make a lot of money, especially the big name guys specifically. And I think a lot of the other players see that as well. It kind of limits their ability to make more money in the future.
dude, it's all contract values. Look at all these negotiations going on with guys in the NFL that they haven't signed yet. Joey Porter Jr. being a good example. Like, they're waiting for other guys to set the market so then they can get their agent to ask their contract value based off of a relatable player.
Right. And then the team has to fit that around their salary cap. They can't just be like, name your price, because it's like, well, we don't have the money for that price that you named.
Right.
We can negotiate with you, we can work with you, and it makes it way more complicated, because then you have like, oh, a guy agrees to a deal worth this amount of money, and then they're ending up restructuring it a year later so that someone else can get signed, and it's like it's a constant. I feel like it's just a constant headache for general managers too. Like you're constantly having to restructure contracts, deal with, players wanting more money, wanting what they're deserved, not having the money for it. In the NFL, it makes a lot more sense, but it does limit the ability of dominance in a way that, like, we always say we love parity in sports, but in reality everybody loves dominance. Everybody wants to see like the great teams play and dominate. And I think that's something that in sports it's like, yeah, we love to see the underdog, we love to see parity. But in reality, what makes sports is domination. And if you have a team that's just so good and they dominate everybody, and that's really what draws the most attention to the sport as well.
Sure.
Is when you have a dominant team that's just overpowering everybody else.
100%. MLB, pretty long segment. We flew away from the sun, so to speak, when we started talking about salary cap, salary floor.
Yeah.
But I thought that was very informational. I learned a few things that I otherwise would have not. So good little tidbit in there. If you do love baseball, any final baseball things to wrap up before we get to talk about y'all's favorite, the EPL? Any other baseball comments? Hopefully Judge comes back. I will say it would be nice to see the Yankees thriving. Pete Crow Armstrong, want to shout him out. Don't really like the guy, but he is having an unbelievable season. If you guys are into statistics or anything, his stats are off the charts. We don't like Scooball. I don't like Scooball. You guys can speak for yourselves, but still.
Like him on Detroit.
Yeah. Liked him better on Detroit. Fair enough. All right, fellas, take it away. What you got for this season? Each talk about your respective teams. I'll chime in a little bit, but I really have no idea. I didn't really follow any off-season moves. I know off-season was kind of probably short this year because of the World Cup. I know these guys play international tournaments all the time, so I'm sure they're used to it at this point. But any big moves happened in the last couple of weeks in between? Do they get a vacation, I'm assuming, in between now and then? They're off.
They get like 2 weeks if they were at the World Cup.
Yeah.
Something like that. No.
Yeah. But I think everybody else was already in training. Because the season technically starts in like July. And then they play a bunch of preseason games. Like they've been playing preseason games for the past month. And now we're getting into the start of the season this weekend. So that'll be fun. Always love start of the Premier League season, and lots of new faces in new places this year. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to watching Brighton. Hopefully they have another successful season this year. Qualified for Europe for the Conference League this year. So they'll be playing in that. And then looking forward to seeing your Spurs, Liam, and bounce back. Have a bounce back this year. They're not getting relegated this year with the signings that they've made. They shouldn't. I will say that. And from experience, like De Zerbi, obviously, who's the manager now for Tottenham, helped them escape. And he was the coach of Brighton during Brighton's best stretch of time they've ever had in the Premier League. So I think there's good things ahead for Tottenham. One thing I will say with De Zerbi, he didn't last long at Brighton. He's he's a very contentious manager. I
Yeah.
think he gets a lot out of his players, but he also can rub players the wrong way because of that.
I feel
So
like it's like very high at the beginning, and then it's like just crashes out with him like everywhere he goes. Um,
yeah, well, I think the players start to kind of turn on him. So that would be the one worry with Tottenham is that because he demands so much from his players that eventually they start to turn on him. But they're going to be playing, very entertaining football for sure. Much more entertaining than they have been than they were under Thomas Frank.
It was brutal. It was brutal under him.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be good. I think they'll like battle for a European spot and just.
I think so too.
That's where they belong anyway, playing up there.
Yeah.
I think Arsenal's going to win again. Honestly, I think it's pretty cut and dry. So.
I think so too. I don't think there's anybody that's really competing with them. City's taken a nosedive. They're losing Bernardo Silva. Probably going to lose Rodri, who's gone. I do think they'll have enough to make it to the Champions League again this year, but I don't see them. I don't really see them in the top two. I personally think Manchester United are the one team I could see potentially, and maybe even Chelsea, with Xavi Alonso, who's the new manager there. I think Liverpool, they still need to figure it out. I think Aston Villa are going to take a little bit of a dip this year, losing Tielemans, losing Morgan Rogers. I think those were probably the two, most important, maybe not most important, but two of the best players on that team. I think that's going to be a huge blow to them. But I really do like Manchester United this year, which, anytime there's hype around Manchester United, they tend to disappoint. So they could finish second, they could finish 12th. There's no telling where they're going to be headed this year.
They'll be good too.
Yeah. So
that's a long season too. Basically, the entire year is the Premier League. But
yeah, that was going to be one of my questions. When do they sign players? I guess all throughout the year. Is there a typical signing period? It's not like the college transfer portal where it opens up for like 3 months or whatever.
So there's two. It kind of is.
Oh.
I mean, there's two main transfer periods. So it starts at the beginning of the calendar year from January 1st to January 31st. Now there's a lot of those signings are loans or kind of like last minute signings, like a player gets injured during the season, so they need to bring somebody else in to kind of fill that role. So it's more kind of fill-ins. It's not as much, there's not as much activity that goes on during that transfer period because it's during the season. And then the big transfer period is still going on now. It's 2 months basically. So it's from the end of the season, which I think it ends technically like June 30th. So the start of the next year is July 1st to August 31st is the transfer window. So we're still in the transfer window. There's still transfers that could happen. Even when the season starts, there's still a possibility of transfers that could take place.
When did the World Cup end? And depending on that, were there any players that were traded during the World Cup?
Yes. So to start the World Cup,
or signed, I guess.
To start the World Cup, this was like a big thing. So Spain obviously have Barcelona and Real Madrid as the two big clubs in Spain. Spain did not have a single player who played their club football at Real Madrid to start the World Cup. By the end of the World Cup, they had one. They had a guy that had signed for Real Madrid, Mark Cucurella, who was the left back. I don't know if you remember the guy with the long hair. Yeah.
I think too. I remember seeing that, and he was like, "Yeah, I didn't tell any of my teammates or anything either." So they just like announced it when he was at like Spain camp. That was like Cucurella going to Real Madrid, and he didn't even
Well,
like tell any
yeah,
of his teammates that
because
it was
half his
happening or
teammates
anything.
play for Barca, so
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
like,
That's hilarious. He was the guy they did like the mini docu-series on like Tubi or whatever about, right? It was him and two other players, I think, if you guys are
I
familiar.
didn't see that. I don't know.
No, but
But
that's
it's
so
the guy with
interesting.
the long black hair,
Yeah.
kind of curly hair.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, so you guys already made your bold predictions. I guess I should put in my bet on Arsenal now before the season starts. Love to do that every year for the past 2 years. So maybe not every year, but annually we have done this on the podcast. We have chosen division winners of each NFL football division. So I'm excited to do that in the future here. But before we get to that in NFL fantasy football, college football, the glorious world of the pigskin, you guys have anything to close out with on the Premier League or soccer in general, I guess? Because I guess the last podcast we filmed was like 2 weeks before the end of the World Cup-ish, 1 week. I think it was like 2-3 games left. But anything you guys got soccer-wise, spit it out.
I don't know. What do you think, Liam? Can Arsenal? Do you think? I think they're definitely the favorites to win the Prem. Do you think they could win the Champions League too?
I think they
I
definitely
think.
could.
I mean, I think it's hard for anybody to compete with PSG. I think they're probably the favorites to three-peat.
Yeah, I think they're the favorites.
They're just so dominant, and they don't have a single weakness on their team. I still think that Arsenal, they lack something going forward. I think Arsenal's defense is so good. They have arguably one of the best goalkeepers in the world, one of the best defenses in the world. Their midfield is solid as well, but I do think that they're I don't know if they've really made a lot of enough signings going forward. And it'll be interesting to see. I think they could definitely go 38 games in a Premier League season and win it. Because I just don't think there's anybody close to them that can compete
I don't think
on that level.
at all.
I really don't see anybody. I think the one team or the two teams I could see would be Chelsea and Manchester United. And Chelsea, they'd have to just hit the ground running with Xavi Alonso, and then everything just gel right in place. Yeah. Cole Palmer have the best season of his entire career. Morgan Rogers settle in perfectly. A lot would have to go right for them.
He's actually solid.
Yeah. But a lot would have to go right with them, and they'd have to shore up their defense for sure. And then Manchester United, they just have to be consistent for an entire season, which
they're a little bit
they haven't done in a long time. Yeah. So,
I mean, I think Arsenal can win. I do think it's harder to win the Champions League being in the Premier League. I just think it's tougher.
I agree. I
think
Bayern Munich is an absolute wagon.
Why is that?
But it's just the hardest league in the world. So, like, your game on Saturday is harder than PSG's game on Saturday, basically.
Gotcha.
There's also a little politics that go into play. I'm sure this could be literally a whole episode about stuff like this. But even, like, League One, that PSG's in, like, they'll be like, oh, we'll move your game. Don't worry about it. So then they'll have like the weekend off before the Champions League game, and then they'll add that game on a week maybe where they like don't have a Champions League game or whatever, but like the Premier League doesn't do that. There's like little things like that, and then they can say, "Oh, well, our team won the Champions League." Like that's the benefit of like benefiting a team in their league, but the Premier League's just too big a deal to do that.
Integrity.
Yeah.
And all that in FIFA. I don't know if you can use that in the same sentence.
You can't.
Integrity in FIFA,
Yeah.
definitely not. After what we saw in this World Cup, yeah, no.
Yeah, not at all.
But that's not even FIFA. That's the like each country has their own football organization.
Mm-hmm.
So like in England, it's the FA, the Football Association, that runs the FA Cup and then all the leagues.
Yeah.
So it's different for each country, which is why I think, like, obviously PSG, like, winning the league doesn't really mean anything because they win it pretty much every year. So
yeah, they were
for them,
-600.
it's all about winning the Champions League. Same thing with Bayern. You know, when it comes down to it, like 9 times out of 10, except for a couple years ago when Bayer Leverkusen won it, but they've been so dominant where it's like the only thing that really matters is the Champions League.
So they're priming up basically to play in the Champions League, whereas the EPL, it's dominant teams fighting to make it to the top.
Yeah, you can't rest people or anything.
No. But the thing would be is if Arsenal can get a big enough lead in the Prem, start resting some of their players in those Premier League games, and it not really affect their ability to win the league and still be able to, you know, have those guys ready and available to go for those Champions League games. I think that would be the best thing. But I also think, you know, Arsenal, if they're going to go up against PSG or Bayern in the Champions League, they're going to have to change the way they play. They can't play like they did in the last final.
Definitely need more like attacking dynamic to their game, like more often, because it's not that they can't do it; they just don't.
Yeah, they have the players to do it.
Yeah,
like it's not like they can't. I mean, they've got Eze, Saka, that the new signing. I can't pronounce his name, but it's like
Moraes.
No, I wasn't thinking about Guimaraes, but Guimaraes is he's a really good player. Came in from Newcastle. He's a right left winger. Came in and was replacing Trossard. I have to look his name up. I think it's like Solus or something like that. But
it was like TZSO.
Yeah, TZ something. Yeah. And then Gyökeres up front.
Man.
That's his celebration. Victor Gyökeres.
Oh, really?
This is his celebration that he does. He does like a mask. Yeah. Yeah.
So, gearing up for a very exciting season.
It's always fun in the fall, man. Prem starts, football starts up again.
Football, it's great. Football, it's perfect.
Yeah, there's nothing better than that. Just waking up in the morning, watching soccer, football, and then going to the other football.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, because 12 noon kickoff, college football.
Yeah, and then you got some London games too, or Germany games.
Yeah,
where
Steelers are playing.
Starts at 9 a.m.
Steelers are playing in Europe, I believe, this year. Not sure which game we got. I'll look up the schedule in a minute when we talk about the NFL. But
I think I'm pretty set on European football. Real quick, there is a Netflix really is doing a Jose Mourinho documentary. I don't know if you saw it. They
No, I
put
didn't. I
that
didn't
out,
see
but
that.
if you have Netflix, I watched the first episode. It wasn't anything amazing, but he's probably like the most polarizing soccer manager, one of all time. So
Interesting.
pretty interesting watch. He's a very interesting
Yeah.
guy.
If you are you familiar with Jose Mourinho, Tyler?
No, not at all. I
Yeah, you
mean, I
should
feel
check
like
him out.
I've
You
heard
should-
that name over being a sports fan over a number of years, but I literally know nothing about it.
You should check him out. Like, the media loves to hate this guy, but he is the most entertaining
Yeah.
coach.
He's almost like a diva wide receiver or something.
He
Like,
is. He's
yeah.
literally like a diva wide receiver as a head football coach. And
And
it's
he
just
wins. And he wins, so he backs
He wins.
it up 99% of the time. So he's a baller. Yeah.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Like he's won Champions Leagues, won league titles, has all the accolades. And so he talks a lot of trash, but he can back it up. And he coined himself the special one. He literally was like, I am the special one.
He just calls himself that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He won the Champions League with Porto, so kind of
Yeah, I don't understand the
Porto's like
significance of that. Yeah.
like a Portuguese team. Like they're not in any big league or anything. Those clubs do not win the Champions League anymore. In like 70s, 80s, 90s, some of those clubs did, but not anymore.
Yeah.
And he took a team.
Yeah, like a small club took them to Champions League.
That's crazy.
It's basically like not the same equivalence, but like if the Browns won the Super Bowl.
Be like a 12 seed winning the Natty or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild. Any more football? All right. Well, it is time. I've been waiting
To the real football.
so long for this. I know we've prefaced some stuff in some earlier episodes throughout the year. And, of course, when we talked in the spring, I think right before the Super Bowl. But we haven't talked about it in a while, fellas. I'm getting ready to go to my fantasy football draft weekend this weekend. Wish you were coming, Graham. And all I will be thinking about is football. All I will be talking about is football. And I'm bringing the pigskin so I can throw the football. Just so excited to get into football season, fellas. Big year this year for all three of our teams. Honestly, respectively, incredibly important season for all three of them. Pittsburgh being a little bit different than y'all two, and Philadelphia being especially different than Graham and I. As in another Super Bowl or bust season, I feel like, for the fans. However, the general media consensus is not as high, I don't think, on the Eagles this year, which, like we had talked about earlier, favors a team like Philadelphia. So, with that being said, I'll let you guys prompt me into talking about the Steelers because I'm sure I'll go on about a rant about them at some point. So, general highlights, I've seen a couple guys get hurt already, which is a bummer. A couple contracts get finalized as preseason starts here. Not a ton of huge storylines. Seen a couple guys get hurt, but other than that, I'm excited to get into it, guys.
I'm so ready for football. Every day I'm like, I'm done with the heat. I'm ready for hoodies and sweatpants and football.
Chilly.
It has been a quiet, other than all the AJ Brown nonsense, which everyone kind of knew was going to happen anyway. It's been a pretty quiet off season.
Yeah, Mike Evans got injured, which I feel bad about. Let me see if there's any other notable guys. I thought I read about a few others.
Electromagnetic field or whatever next to the Niners
Yeah,
practice facility.
yeah.
I've been to that train stop. I've seen it. It's not.
Well, and
I've been there.
Ricky Pearsall too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, he got hurt.
Yeah.
Marcus
I think he's out for the
Mariota,
season.
Jamal Adams. Out
He
for
got
the
hurt
season.
at guess where? MetLife.
Yep, season-ending injury. Houston Texans backup QB Graham Mertz. Those are the big ones.
In the NFL? That's funny.
Mitch Trubisky, Brees Hall went down untouched after making a catch. This was
Well, that's
yesterday or today.
I like him.
Looked like a possible groin injury. Aaron
CJ
Glenn didn't seem
got
worried. Dude, how about this shit about Jeremiah Love potentially not getting snaps? You think you don't rush him?
Yeah, he's got to be fronting. I don't know about that.
I feel like I'd play him.
I mean, you drafted him 4th. Like,
He's a running back. It's one thing if you want to develop a QB, but
Dude, he's filthy. He's so good.
Yeah. Also, what's the point? You have so many holes on that team. You
Yeah.
didn't need to draft a running back there, but you did.
He had like 3
You
running
know
backs.
what? Why are you now not deciding like, oh, we're not going to play him? Plus, I mean, rookie. If you aren't able as a running back to come in as a rookie and be successful, you're not going to make it. Like most running backs, the shelf life is very limited to begin with. So I don't know why they're not using him. Maybe he's injured, he's had a knock or something, or they're trying to keep him fresh for the regular season. That could be something too. I don't know.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it's fun to speculate. Love doing it, of course.
It is. It is fun.
If you've ever listened to this podcast before, we never speculate, right?
But also too, it makes it interesting because then it's like when you're drafting in fantasy.
Yep.
Oh, well, is Jeremiah Love gonna get all the touches? Like, how much is he gonna get? Oh, should I pick him as high as he's going, which is like 2nd round? I've started to see that.
Mm-hmm.
I always have a philosophy of I never draft rookies in the first couple rounds. I don't like to take the risk on it, but
yeah. I read something on Reddit the other day that suggested like the first 2 or 3 rounds is pretty insignificant in terms of like what teams win the championships. It's about those late round grabs. Like I got Chuba Hubbard 2 years ago, and he was like the bell cow guy, and I got him in like the 7th round. Guys like that really put that team to the next level. Over 15 weeks or whatever we play, it eventually averages out that the 1 and 2 tier guys are scoring a relatively similar amount of points. And obviously this is like 75%. So there's 25% of leagues where people are, picking the wrong players in the first couple rounds as well. But the overwhelming majority is based on those late round selections that are like, diamonds in the rough.
yeah. Well, I do think it does make a difference too if you've got a guy that gets hurt, like one of your early round players suffers an injury.
I've been
that
plagued.
happened to me. I picked Christian McCaffrey. I think I was
I had him
like
the other year,
1st
too.
or 2nd overall
Yep.
2 years
Remember
ago. Didn't play a single game the entire season, and like there was no indication he was going to be out.
I know.
The entire time, like before, it was like, oh, he has a little knock or something like that. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll still pick him. First game comes around, oh, he might not play the first game. Of course, freaking Kyle Shanahan doesn't say anything,
I had him
and
the
they
same
play a
year,
Monday.
dude.
They play a Monday night game.
Yes, you already had
Somebody
him
in our league already picked up Jordan Mason, and I had to go the first game of the season without a starting running back, because I got screwed over because I was expecting him to play Monday night because there was no indication he would be out, and then Monday morning comes, oh, he's out for the game. Nobody to pick up.
Yeah, I picked up Jordan Mason.
I'm pretty sure that was the year then Saquon went off, and even as an Eagles fan, I freaking picked Christian McCaffrey, and then there goes Saquon like 2nd in the draft, and he goes
and he gets
McCaffrey
2,000
played, like,
yards.
3 weeks at the end of the year, useless.
Bro, it's
Useless.
Yes, it's that time
Sorry
of year
for the
again.
little rant there,
No,
but
absolutely not. We love it, dude. This type of shit.
Yeah.
I complain about it every year. I'm sure you can pull up the last like 3 off-season podcasts right after the Super Bowl, and I will be bitching about an injury or somebody who snagged a waiver pickup, because I'm always last in the waivers because I'm always picking guys up I'm reading about shit on Reddit, picking these guys up weeks ahead of time, trying to get ahead of like the curve. I keep like 4 roster spots on my bench to just interchange these guys, and I just take gambles. It's paid off for me before, so that's kind of my overwhelming strategy. I think I'm going to be going RB heavy this year. I think, but we're PPR.
I'm definitely going RB heavy. You have to. It's so dry.
So Graham, I'm gonna talk up wide receivers all Friday night. I got you, man. To everybody, I'm gonna be like, oh my God, Jamar Chase, like he's so good this year. Like you have to take.
Just tell everybody the strategy is to get wide receivers early.
Yeah,
because I got a couple wide receivers in mind that I think are gonna be real sleepers that I can get a little later. My strategy is to go running back heavy, although we do play with a fantasy savant,
Adam,
who this man. So we play with this guy Adam. This guy just like he studies this shit for a living, basically. He always has a similar strategy. He bulks up on running backs and wide receivers way more than he needs to, and then drafts like a tight end super late, a quarterback super late.
Trade bait.
And then we'll use those running backs and wide receivers as trade bait.
Dude, on draft day, I mean, we are there at the house, and he is just talking everybody's ear off. I got this guy. I got this guy.
Crazy.
Last year,
Yeah.
I mean, you should see the draft board. I mean, there were multiple moves, like, the day we were there, because it was on, like, the wall. And then, like, by the end of the weekend, like, nothing was the same. We took pictures before and after. I traded Tyreek Hill, and then he got injured. That was fantastic to Jacob. But I also gave him, what's his face? That ended up becoming
JSN, right?
No. He ended up becoming a starter. But I got Quinshon Judkins and Aaron Jones. But I gave him like an RB3 that was pretty good. That panned out to be a little bit better than Judkins. So I wish I would have kept him in the end, but had to pawn Tyreek Hill. Needed to get rid of him. I didn't like drafting him. I think I took him like 56th or something like that. I didn't like it. But, like, I don't know. My strategy is draft the best player on the board. And, like, I thought he was the best player, so I took him. You know what I mean? Got to go with your gut. Ended up working out fine. I actually had a chance to make a run in the end, even though I started off 1-6. Couple loose games. I mean, Luis scoring like 170 points week 1 against me kind of sets the tone of a bad season. But so excited to get back.
Was it last season that Mitch just dogged everybody?
Yeah, and then ended up losing in the championship.
And then lost in the championship game.
Classic.
Yep.
Yeah. He went like 13-1 or
Yeah.
12-1 in the regular season. I think I was the only guy. I was the only person to beat him in the regular season, and it's because he had an off week. Yeah.
Man.
But
My league with my cousins is like 12 years running, and I've won once, so I'm not really sure you want my advice.
I've only won once in our league.
It's brutal.
I haven't won in our league. I've won twice in my dynasty league, though.
Nice.
I made it to the championship game, I think, a couple years back in our league.
I'm
I
5 of 7 years in
missed
the
the
playoffs.
playoffs last year, so I'm kind of.
I think I'm either 5 or 6 of 7, or 5 or 6 of 7 years I've made the playoffs. I think I've only missed it once or twice.
You guys use kickers?
Yeah.
Yep.
We've been thinking about getting rid of those, but I just feel like they add so many points. It's actually ridiculous. But I was going to say, part of my strategy is like the opposite of that kid. I always try and snag like a top QB, a top tight end, and like a top kicker real quick. And it like in the shuffle of like 5 through 8, I feel like. And I hope nobody really notices. I'm always like, you know what, why not take a guaranteed 30 points a week here from this quarterback compared to like a solid 18 or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder what the risk versus reward strategy or statistics would be of taking like a top 2 kicker. You know what I mean? Like, how early is it actually worth it rather than getting a player to fill the bench spot? You know what I mean?
Like Brandon Aubrey's kicking like 350-yarders a game now. Like,
I feel like if you get one of the top kickers, I mean, if you're drafting him in like the 12th or 13th round, I think the value is there, especially because it's likely that the guy who's 12th or 13th on your roster, you're probably going to end up dropping at some point. Unless you end up getting, one of those guys that ends up having, one of those late draft flyers. But I feel like it's a lot harder than you'd think to predict that, because a lot of that comes down to a guy gets injured, somebody else comes in, plays really well, and then ends up taking the role in a lot of cases, and you can't really predict that. It's more, it just happens and you got to jump on it when it happens.
or even you randomly just take some 7th round rookie wide receiver who you've been like, maybe he'll be all right, and then he like goes off or whatever.
Yeah.
Like a couple years ago when Breece Hall was a rookie, I took him because I remember him being good at Iowa State, because Iowa State always beat West Virginia. Then he ended up being really good, and he got like hurt halfway through the season, and then my season went in the tank like when he got hurt. You can't predict any of that.
No.
So I've got some cheat sheets pulled up. I'm going to run through the top couple players. This is all PPR, and then we can kind of talk about the top tier guys a little bit before getting into teams and how Mike McCarthy might take us to our first playoff win since, 2016?
The Promised Land?
The Promised Land.
Yeah.
I should have
You ever
said.
see this post, Tyler? I see it all the time. It's like, Deshaun Watson signed this terrible contract how many years ago? Surely your team's won a playoff game since then. And I'm pretty sure every single team is in the circle that says yes, and the Steelers are in the circle that says no.
Yes, I have seen that.
Which is very unlike Pittsburgh football. So
I know.
Also,
I know.
Tyler, I don't mind telling you a couple of the sleepers I have, because I wouldn't mind you getting them, and this episode won't be released until after our draft. So
That would be correct.
In cahoots the whole time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But, but however, it's Graham sharing his objective values and opinions on these players before
the listeners.
with the listeners. Exactly.
With the listeners, just with the listeners, not. We can cut that part out. I said about you, Tyler.
That's right. No, we'll leave it in. It's more authentic that way. All right. However, let's see. I don't know that any of our friends do listen to the podcast, so that'll be a good test in the Fantasy Football League. All right. So we've got Draft Sharks, we've got Fantasy Pros, and we've got Fantasy Football Today. Top, 100 players, PPR. Let's see. It shows, Fantasy Football Today shows strength of schedule, weeks 1 through 17, and then also strength of schedule 15 through 17. So in the late weeks when we're going for playoffs and fantasy football championship trophies or rings, however your league does it. And then the Draft Sharks has strength of schedule percentage, injury risk, floor points projection, and then their ceiling points projection. And then we have Fantasy Pros, which just has a strength of schedule in 1 through 4 stars, and it has a boom or bust in a tier from 1 to 5. So we'll start with the Fantasy Football Today cheat sheet, and I'll kind of go through the strength of schedules. It's green or red. Obviously, green is good, red is bad, unless you're Michael Scott. What does it say? Green is go ahead and shut up about it. So, Fantasy Football Today predicts Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, 1 and 2. Jahmyr Gibbs having significantly easier schedule with a bye week in week number 6. Bijan has a slightly red strength of schedule 1 through 17, and then a slightly green schedule 15 through 17. And we've got our first 2 wide receivers on the board, Puka Nacua, Jamar Chase, both with light green schedules. Jamar Chase having an bye week on the 6th week, and Puka being on the 11th. Then we've got McCaffrey, RB3. He's got a tough strength of schedule. Smith and Jigba, obviously reigning Super Bowl champion, tough schedule. And then we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown as number 7. He's got a very green strength of schedule, also being on Detroit. Then we've got Jonathan Taylor, James Cook. Jonathan Taylor, easier schedule than James Cook. 13th bye week for Jonathan Taylor, 7th for Cook. And then Drake London rounding out the top 10, wide receiver 5, with a moderately difficult strength of schedule. Then I'll just name a couple other guys without going into it too much so we can get to the next one. Marion Hampton, Jay Jetta, CeeDee Lamb, Devon A-Chain, Barkley, Jonty, Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Rashee Rice has a little yield symbol next to it, and then Nico Collins rounding out the top 20.
Do they have Love on that one?
Jeremiah Love, as 27, running back 13 with a difficult strength of schedule.
He's up there still.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They have a tough division too, so
Yep.
strength of schedule is always going to be hard, I feel like.
Yep. Okay, so then we've got Draft Sharks, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan, 1 and 2 again. Strength of schedule, Bijan being harder than Jahmyr Gibbs. Same Bijan, about half the risk for injury as Jahmyr Gibbs, and they're pretty close to floor and ceiling projections. Nakua and Jamar Chase are 1 and 2 receivers, as was suggested on Fantasy Football Today. Similar statistics, Puka Nakua having a higher injury risk and a harder strength of schedule. Then we've got Smith and Jigba, which is our first swap up. And then we've got James Cook listed above Christian McCaffrey. These guys had James Cook all the way down at number 9. Then we got Jonathan Taylor, Derrick Henry, which I don't even see him on this list until 24 on Fantasy Football Today. So that's our first real big switcheroo, Derrick Henry being at 9 versus 24. Then we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown at 10, CeeDee Lamb, Jay Jetta, Saquon. Those guys are all in Tier 2. Then Tier 3, they have Jonty, which is above these other guys as well. Nico Collins. The other guys had him at 20. Then they have Josh Allen at 16. These guys have Josh Allen at 25. And then Kenneth Walker, 17. Drake London, George Pickens, A.J. Brown to round out the top 20. Yeah. And then finally, we got Fantasy Pros. Jamar Chase, they have a number 1. Whoa. For PPR. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, then Puka Nakua, then Bijan Robinson. So slightly different. Then they have JSN, Amon-Ra, CD, Jay Jetta, and then McCaffrey down much lower. Drake London, Jonathan Taylor, A.J. Brown. They got Jonty at 13. Collins, James Cook at 15. Chase Brown at 16. Interesting. They got him high. Brock Bowers at 17. Few above. Chris Olave, George Pickens, and Trey McBride rounding out the top 20. So seeing a couple guys on there that are different, but mostly the same, like top 5, 6 picks for the most part, which isn't really overly surprising. But I think late first round, we could have some interesting choices were we to receive those picks in the draft, I will say.
How many people are in your league?
10.
There's 10.
Oh, we have 10 too.
Yeah.
I think 10's a good number.
Yep, agree. Drake London.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. AJ seems a little high. Maybe I'm a little biased because I picked him last year and he didn't do well for me. He was disappointing. But I always think, you were saying like some of the late round guys are super important. I think like if you can nail the second and third rounds, because obviously you have your first round guy that's kind of going to be your bell cow of your team, your most important player probably, that'll get you close to 20 points a game. But if you can nail the second and third round, because some of those guys, it's like they underperform significantly and they're more like a 6th round guy.
Right.
And then some of those guys end up being a first round level player where they end up getting picked in the first round the next year.
Yes.
Like I look at somebody like Saquon, I feel like every time where he's ranked lower, he ends up having a really, really good season. And I feel like he's one of those guys where I'm looking at, and if he's available in the second round, I would probably take him.
I'd probably take him at like 9 or 10 over, I don't know, Drake London.
I don't think I would take him over Jonathan Taylor.
No, maybe James Cook, depending on how early he's taken.
I think James Cook's gonna go high.
Yeah,
because I know Adam loves James Cook. So if Adam ends up being 9th or 10th, he'll definitely take James Cook in that.
Yes. And just to clarify what I was talking about earlier, I think it was rounds like 3 through 6, Graham, are the most important. It wasn't like round 10, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Where you're snagging a guy.
Because if you get, like, I'm looking at guys like Saquon, if you can get him. I also think Amari and Hampton is another guy. I think my guy that I want to get, and if you might end up getting him too. I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see where he falls. But I really, really like Ladd McConkey this year.
Yeah.
I think with Mike McDaniel, that system, he's going in like the 4th round.
They've got him as wide receiver 25 on here.
Yeah. I really like Ladd McConkey this year. I think he'll be a PPR. He'll be a
beast.
PPR beast.
Yeah.
And could end up being like a top 10 receiver by the end of the year.
Yeah. A lot of very interesting names in that sphere. But I want to take it back to the A.J. Brown thing. I know we're sour about that name on this podcast experience. However, I think he fits like a glove in a New England's offense. I would not be surprised if he easily leads the team in targets. Hunter Henry was one of May's favorite targets last year. I just cannot see that continuing with a guy like A.J. Brown on the field. Like, he's going to get the ball. It just depends on how creative they are with opening up space for him as a football team. And I think they did a decent job of that with no receivers last year for May. I mean, obviously, they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Hell. But I don't want to discount that. I think he's a guy that might do very well. Or
he's going to have a good year.
Or flip side, he just doesn't, he's not compatible with the team, the situation, and he's a diva, and he sucks. I mean, I think that's like a 15% chance, much less, but I think it could happen.
I think so too.
Or he's cooked. Never know. Maybe he's cooked.
That's right. Never know.
Yeah. I'm one of those guys that, like, I have faith in certain players. There's certain guys I just love to draft.
I agree with that.
And then there's also some guys where if I draft you and you don't perform for me, regardless of whether you're a top player, I'm never again.
Nope.
Like, I don't think I can draft Christian McCaffrey.
I can't either,
dude. I have it too.
Names.
I have it too.
It's like if Christian McCaffrey is the top player on the board when I'm up to draft, probably just going to go to the next guy.
Yeah.
Like, if it's between him and Amon-Ra, probably take Amon-Ra. Yeah. That's just kind of how I am. And it's been twice now with A.J. Brown where, like, the times I haven't drafted him, he's had great years. The 2 years I did draft him, it was like his last year in Tennessee where he didn't do very well, and then last season where he also didn't do very well. It was like I picked him the 2 years he underperformed.
I think with receivers sometimes too, they'll go from like 10 touchdowns to 4 touchdowns to 9 touchdowns to 3 touchdowns. Like AJ, once you only have like 4 touchdowns, you're just not getting very many fantasy points.
The one guy I will give the exception to, because I drafted him last year in the first round, he underperformed, but it wasn't really his fault, is Justin Jefferson. Because I think I think if he did, when Carson Wentz was playing, he actually was good and like had some decent games. but then other than that, he just wasn't very good. And I don't think that was his fault. And I'm not like, he's the one guy where it's like, if he fell to me in the draft, I probably would take him because he does have the potential to be a one of the top
guys, especially if
receivers.
it's competent QB. I mean, Kyler Murray's never been that great, but man, he loves his wide receiver ones. I'll tell you that. Who did he have? He had DeAndre Hopkins, and he just fed him, dude, I feel like, throughout all those years. Any other late round guys? Because I feel like, especially in PPR, having a guy that has a lot of targets is extremely important. Maybe teams that might have guys with only one target, such as DK Metcalf last year. That's why I took him. I knew he was getting 10 targets a game because we literally didn't have anybody else. Now he's splitting the share. He might only get 5 targets a game, and Marvin Harrison might get, or not Marvin Harrison, excuse me. Michael Pittman might get 7. You know what I mean? Like now he's got to split that 10 targets or 12 targets. It's going to different places. Any guys we see like that?
I got 2 guys for you, Tyler, and I think it's guys that you're really gonna like. One of them is a Steeler, and one of them is a former Hokie. I think you know who the former Hokie is.
I do. You like? I'm
love
worried
Tootin.
I'm worried about his timeshare.
I don't think that's going to be an issue because he is a home run hitter running back. Like I think because it was a couple years ago, Achane was splitting time with
who was it?
Raheem Mostert.
Yep,
in
that's
Miami.
right. That's right.
And it was basically he had that kind of when he was at Tech, he was a home run hitter.
Yeah,
when
explosiveness.
He was at Tech. He would just go off for like a 50-yard run.
Yeah,
and just break through the hole or get it outside and just race everybody to the end zone.
like the last exciting running back that we've had, honestly, at VT.
Yeah, I mean, and I think, I think you're right. It's concerning that he's getting split time, but I also do think that is the reason why he's going so low, which is why if he's your third running back,
if
you already got 2 guys before him, why not take a risk?
He's worth a shot.
He's worth a shot because I think he has the potential to be a top running back.
Sure.
And end up maybe, not top 5, but maybe like borderline top 10 finish as a running back. And then my second guy is Michael Pittman.
Dude, I feel that. I think he's going to do well.
I'm high on Michael Pittman.
Low key, I think the Steelers' passing offense is going to be fire this year for all you Gen Zers listening to the podcast. I think we're going to be so good. Honestly, if A-Raj can just be 15th QBR for the year, I think we'll be great.
Be Jalen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I think
but he can't run.
I think Metcalf is they're ranked around the same. I think Metcalf might be ranked slightly higher. I'm looking on Fantasy Pros. Metcalf is 79th. Pittman is 82nd. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, why not take a shot on him as your third or fourth receiver? Yep.
Because he's good. I mean, both of those guys are going to be getting touchdown looks. He's on my team, and we signed him to a medium-sized deal. I just don't think DK is that talented of a receiver. I just think he's kind of a physical machine, and he can overpower you. He's not really that great. I think Michael Pittman is a much more talented receiver. He's a little bit smaller, though, but I think he's better. So I think he's going to get more end zone targets, stuff over the middle of the field, allow him to create space, and still throw those contested balls to DK because he's just huge.
And when he's had good quarterback play, he's been really good.
Yes, and he's not getting double covered this year because we'll have Pittman, so the focus isn't going to be solely on him. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I like that.
I got maybe not sleepers, but just 3 people we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe now he's probably dropping more. I still think Josh Jacobs is a good pick. I just think he scores touchdowns.
Yes.
He might be hurt. He might be banged up, but I think he's a good pick still.
I think so too, especially with how late he's going.
Yeah, and I just think Green Bay has a good offense, and Jordan Love is good. They move the ball. Like, I just feel like he's a beast. I think Ibuka is really good.
He's gonna go high. I feel like. Didn't he?
I like Ibuka. He's ranked.
I don't remember hearing his name on this list.
No, he's ranked on Fantasy Pros. He's ranked 39th. He's ranked really low, but I know for a fact in our league he's gonna go in like the late second, early third.
Yes, people are hip.
Yeah, he's good. And then the other guy, yeah.
That's the thing about our league. It's like
it's fierce, dude. You gotta know.
It's you gotta know.
Yeah, and Baker's gonna throw it up there no matter what. He could have 5 picks. He's throwing it up there. So.
Hell yeah.
Then this is a guy I've drafted, and he's never done well for me, and I think he's overrated. But I could see DJ Moore having a good year just because Josh Allen actually has somebody to throw the ball to.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, I've taken the bait on DJ Moore though, like
I have too.
3 or 4 of the last 6 seasons, and I don't know, man.
He's from Philly too, so I want to be like, dude, come on, and he's just not it.
Also, if you want like a really, really late flyer, I really like Kenny Gainwell.
Dude,
I love Gainwell.
Gainwell's
you
awesome.
both love Kenny Gainwell because he played for the Steelers and the Eagles.
Yes.
And I feel like he's like a reception machine.
Yeah.
He's probably gonna get at least like 3 or 4 catches a game. He's a guy that's not gonna have a very high ceiling, but he'll have a very high floor.
They've got him.
You probably won't.
As like 34 through 37 is what they got him ranked, or running back.
I thought Pittsburgh was going to re-sign him.
I thought so too.
I think
Rodgers loved him.
Dowdle shook it up, and Warren can catch passes kind of like that. But yeah, I was super surprised that we moved on from him, honestly.
Yeah, because he's just a very, very good safety net, and I think he's probably has a good floor of like 7 to 10 points a game. I don't think he's ever going to get you more than 20.
Sure.
But he's a nice guy to have if you've got some injuries or you've got a bye. You can just slot him in for a week and not feel like you're sacrificing that much.
Yeah, absolutely. He's in the mix around guys like JCM, Aaron Jones, Monangai, I think I said that correctly. Jordan Addison, Alec Pierce, Dart, Quentin Johnson, Jacoby Myers, Kittle, all around that kind of 100 to 110 area. I don't know, man. Gearing up for a fantastic year. I like hearing all the advice before I go to draft. We love this because I guess my next draft isn't until Tuesday or Wednesday of next week, so I've got like 7 more days to prepare for that one, and the experience of having drafted probably my hardest draft up front. I kind of know, what to look for and what people are talking about in my subsequent leagues. Anything else we got for fantasy specifically before we move on to regular NFL? I'm excited to talk about the teams a little bit and where we're at after the offseason. We've already talked about the draft because obviously there's nothing to talk about in terms of NFL in the summer, and that's all we do is speculate. So preseason's starting to happen, and we're about to get into it. So fantasy stuff.
We'll say Jalen Hurts is supposedly in shape, so he'll be running this year, and he hasn't ran the last 2 years. I took him every tush-push year, and he was ridiculous because he would just get a free, 12 points a game from 2 tush-push touchdowns. So if he's running more, he's a weapon. But if he's not running, terrible fantasy quarterback.
Yep.
Yeah. Quarterback's interesting because I feel like there's 2 or 3 guys that are like at the top, and then if you don't get one of those guys, it's like you might as well just wait.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, they've got Josh Allen, Drake May, Lamar, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, which makes sense. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much all I'm seeing.
I think that kind of seems high for Drake May.
I
I
agree.
think my top three would be
Herbert.
Josh Allen, Lamar, Jalen Hurts.
And Hurts. I agree.
And then it kind of drops after that.
They got Jaden Daniels up there, Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
First.
I would say with Jane Daniels and Joe Burrow, the only, they're good fantasy quarterbacks. The only concern is injuries.
Yep.
Same with Mahomes now too, a little bit. I feel like.
Yeah, same with Mahomes.
Yeah, they
That's
got
why
Mahomes as low as 14.
If I don't, I'm looking at guys like Dart and Caleb Williams. And
Hart's gonna get hurt.
that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah, Dart might get hurt. But he's not afraid to throw
Bryce
down.
Young?
Bryce Young? Potentially.
Potentially, I would pick him as a backup though, not as my starter.
I also don't pick Cowboys and Giants and Commanders. That's the other thing I don't do.
Yeah, sounds about right. Grace.
I can't
Grace,
do it.
I mean,
Grace doesn't
honestly,
like it
I
either.
don't really pick Cowboys.
Gross.
Gross.
I mean, if
I
CD
just-
Lamb or Pickens gets to me in the right spot, they
Yeah.
eat. But
Yeah.
other than
But
that,
even then, I'm not really loving that because I wouldn't know which it's kind of hard to pick. It's kind of the same thing with sometimes I don't really I would pick Jamar Chase if he came to me at the right spot. But it's the same thing. I don't, with him and T Higgins. But I don't know. I picked CD one year. He was good, but I don't know if I would risk that just because Pickens was more of the wide receiver one last year. Is it going to be that way again? Or is CD going to get more of the touches, get more of the targets? And injuries play a big factor in that.
and they
'cause
go
CD's
high.
out.
That's the problem. Both of them will go first 3 rounds.
Both of them are going to go in the first or second round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe not the risk I'd be willing to take.
I wouldn't take a risk on them.
But we'll see. Adam's got a soft spot for them, so that might be our advantage this year.
No, that's the thing though, is do you pick them just so you can trade
Try to
with
trade
Adam
with
for
him. Day of, too. If it falls to me, I might. But I can't push him too hard. It's going to be fun, but tough.
Also, Leo, you're a little confused. This guy is like a serial trader.
Yes.
I kid you not. Will
Every
spam trades
yes.
to every single person in the league.
Yes.
I don't know if I've made one trade in all my years of fantasy. I don't do it. I draft my boys and I ride with
I
them.
trade very often. I'm big on the waiver wire, but Adam, I don't know if he has a single player that he's drafted by the time the season's over. He trades everybody.
He's just playing like career mode. He's not even playing fantasy.
And it's not even Dynasty, which I kind of want to get this group into Dynasty because I feel like, then we can trade future picks and stuff like that. But
I think it would be a lot more fun.
But no
picks on picks.
No shade to Luis, but I think we would Luis would have to get hip or we would have to get somebody else because Adam would just milk him for all the good players and he'd be like, Luis, you can just draft a great team next year. And then Luis is just going to have rookie draft.
Pick for a 16-year-old. This kid's 16. You'll get him in 8 years.
Yeah.
That's the thing is he will kind of prey on not the lesser, but the weaker
people that are
guys
easier to be persuaded.
And,
just put it
be
that
like,
way.
oh no, this is a good trade. Mind you, 9 times out of 10, the trades he sends are completely unfair.
And then
completely unfair.
And then I'm
Completely
texting Luis. I'm texting Luis to try to get him to trade with me, and he's like, Adam's telling me not to do it. I'm like,
Shocker.
Oh, I love it, dude. I love it every year. It gets heated. It's so fun and exciting.
He's Howie Roseman out there. Just
yeah, literally.
dropping bombs left and right.
Literally, he assembles the Infinity Stones every year. It feels like, and he would love that because he loves the Avengers. So I know he would love that. But looking forward to chatting with him this weekend. And then you have Gracie on the other hand. She's like, I won't trade. She's like, I'll never trade. And I'm like, come on, not for anything. And she's like, never. She's like, I won't trade a single player. So then you have teams like that. So you're like, if there's anybody on that team, good luck. You ain't getting them.
Yeah. Also, good luck getting Derrick Henry, because she's picking him in like the first or second round before he's supposed to get picked.
I know, she takes him every year.
She takes him every single year.
I mean, he's good.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah. So
He's all right.
no hate, no shade. But all right, let's move into the NFL season. Let's talk a little bit about some exciting teams. Remember, we did this kind of 3 weeks ago or whatever, when we did teams we thought would take a step up versus a step back. Now I think we should kind of just go into Super Bowl contenders, and we'll do. Did we do division winners last year or last podcast? I can't remember.
I don't think we did.
Okay.
I think we did like teams that
step up and step back. I think
step up or step back.
Yeah. So, all right. What do we got this year? What are going to be the trending narratives around the NFL? Chiefs come back. Eagles take a step up. Bills in disaster mode. Will they need to move on from Josh Allen? Crazy. Things of that nature. People think the Bengals are going to be better. The Ravens with Jesse Minter and Lamar Jackson coming off of a stellar season. Who's to know? Who's got it this year? Obviously, I'm rooting for the Steelers, but is it realistic? Name me some Super Bowl teams. Let's talk about how they assembled the roster.
Okay, well, I think the first team that comes to mind is obviously the Rams.
Yeah, I guess.
Assembling the Avengers, especially if Aaron Donald comes back.
That'd be crazy.
They're talking about it. He's like, he's been teasing it. They've been having him at workouts. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but that would be a crazy storyline. Or even if like they're starting to contend and he just decides like week 10, he's like, all right, I'm coming back, and then ends up playing the rest of the year. I would say the Rams. I think the Eagles. I think the Lions will bounce back this year. I do like the Lions as well in the NFC. I think the AFC is up for grabs. I think you could probably list 7 or 8 teams that I think have a genuine shot at winning a Super Bowl. Bills, Patriots. I think even the Chiefs. I like the Chargers this year. Broncos, we'll see. I think they'll probably take a step back this year, though. And then the NFC North, I think that division is so tough. Where it'll be interesting to see. I think I have a feeling that Baltimore will bounce back this year. Cincinnati will bounce back this year, but we'll see. I mean, it's really up in the air. I think still the best division in football is the NFC North. I just think they're, from top to bottom, that division is just so solid. The Vikings are going to be better with Kyler this year. The Bears, I think they'll still be good. Caleb Williams in his 3rd season. Packers are going to be a playoff contending team again. And then, as I mentioned, the Lions, I think they'll bounce back and make the playoffs. So, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if all four NFC North teams end up making the playoffs this year. So,
That would be
yeah.
Crazy. Minnesota's QB situation is a little shaky, I think, but they always have a good defense. We didn't even say Seattle either.
No, I think Seattle's the problem is
Their defense is legit, but
their defense is legit, but the problem is that you lose Kenneth Walker. When you win a Super Bowl, I think, especially if you're a team that wasn't expected to win a Super Bowl, kind of reminds me of like Philly in 2017, when it's kind of like the team comes out of nowhere, makes a run, ends up having a really good year, out of nowhere. It's hard to live up to that, especially when a lot of the
deconstructed.
yeah, especially when a lot of those guys that weren't getting paid are now getting paid somewhere else, and it's just tough to do. I think the Chiefs made it look super easy for the years that they were doing that. And that's because they kind of had already solidified their core players and were able to draft guys that would kind of come in and just slip right into the system, especially on defense. But it's tough to do.
To that extent, that's a good example because the Eagles did the same thing when they just won the Super Bowl, where they haven't repeated or anything yet, but they kept together that core and have just been like sliding people through. And that was like anticipated success versus like 2017 where you didn't see it coming and then you don't really have the roster stability for it.
Yeah. Because if you're constantly contending and you're prepared for that, you're more prepared for players leaving and already having replacements ready. Guys that are in their first or second season that can come in and immediately make an impact, that had playing time the previous year and that experience, and then can roll over for the next season.
Yep. All right, Liam, give me your take on the Eagles since we've kind of briefly touched on them so far. Haven't gone too in depth about anything other than A.J. Brown leaving. Do we think they can win the Super Bowl? Things of that nature. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. What do you think of their off season? I feel like they made a couple of fairly decent moves. They drafted well. How do you expect they'll do this season?
Yeah, I think they should win the division. I think Dallas is good. They're always like good. I feel like Dallas, you like consider a playoff team, I guess, but they always find a way to choke. I think a lot of people are expecting like Malachi Lemon to replace AJ Brown, and that's not going to happen in like a million years, and that's like not his job either. It's also not Devontae Smith's job to replace AJ Brown. Like it's nobody's job to do it. Like he is no longer on the team. You need to find an offense that works like without him on the team. Even how many plays Jalen made the pass, but it was like a 3rd and 8. I can't even tell you how many times. It would just be a go route to AJ Brown, and the ball's in midair, and you go first down, and you just knew it. And he did it for like 3 years straight. So it's literally impossible to replace that. Our first preseason game was a disaster, but they don't play anybody, so I don't really care. It's just preseason. But Sean Mannion, new offensive coordinator, I think that's obviously the biggest deal.
Yep.
How is his offense going to be? Jalen's going to be under center a lot more play action, a lot more motion. I just think it makes a lot of sense as a modern offense. Last year, they were like 29th in the league in motion or something like that. Like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith lined up on the same spot, like 70% of the snaps are just, I don't know the number, but just something like that.
Yeah.
Like, their offense was just so predictable. So I think that's like the big thing. How is his offense going to be? How is he going to affect Jalen? And then I think Saquon had a predictable down year because everybody does after you have a 2,000-yard season or you have like a huge season like that. I feel like the next season you're always down. The O-line didn't have as good a year either. So I think the O-line will bounce back. healthy. I think they were banged up because of the Super Bowl too, and just like the deep run, and guys didn't get rest in the offseason that they needed. They paid Jalen Carter, highest DT ever. Not that that matters because the next guy will just be the highest DT ever. But he's a monster. And so just having Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, I think is huge. You just have like 4 young players in really important positions. And then they signed Tariq Woolen too from Seattle, which I think is a great signing. So we have Tariq Woolen, Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell. I think that's easily the best DB room in the league.
Yeah.
Zach Bond's an all-pro linebacker. Like, they're stacked. Like, they're still stacked. And I feel like for some reason in the media, all they talk about is Jalen Hurts instead of, like, actually covering the team right now, and they're really, really good, and I think they should be able to make a run for the Super Bowl. And Jalen Hurts is, like, 5-0 against the Rams, so I'm not worried about the Rams.
Yeah, that is true. I feel like they have beaten them.
You got
pretty
their
much
number,
every
dude.
time.
You can't beat us.
Yeah.
I've always hated the Rams because even when Doug Peterson was there, the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl, Doug Peterson beat the Rams on the road in a game. Carson Wentz tore his ACL, and Sean McVay still won Coach of the Year. Like, he took a Rams from nothing to a great team. He did, but me and my brothers have always had beef with Sean McVay. And he didn't have a Super Bowl at that point, and Doug did. And then, I mean, we see how that turned out. He's obviously a better coach than Doug Peterson, but
Right.
he can't beat the Eagles.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that stat. But yeah, I would expect Philadelphia to have a bounce back season.
I think Jalen will be good. Drama free too.
Yes.
I think it's like it just needed to move on, breath of fresh air. Let's see how it goes.
Yep. Not that
I
they
mean,
had
I
a
don't.
bad season last
If I'm being
season.
honest, I don't think anything will be drama free when it comes to the Eagles. But
Yeah, I think it was a lot of AJ.
I think it was, but I think it'll be less drama.
There's always noise. There's always noise.
Yeah, there's always noise. I guess there's still going to be noise, just not as much drama.
Yeah, but I think they're a top 3 defense in the league. Like, their defense is so good, and Vic Fangio is so good. So, like, I think they won. They had 2 games last year. I'm pretty sure the offense had 0 passing yards in the second half, and I think they won both of the games. Like, so the defense is Super Bowl defense.
And I think this year they're gonna go more as a run-centric team.
Yeah,
which is the right call.
They need to, and that's what they're designed for. I mean,
Yeah.
you've got a running quarterback. You have Saquon Barkley.
You got guys in the trenches that are fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and you just drafted a tight end in the draft. You've got Goddard, so you're gonna run more 2 tight end sets probably. With Mekhi Lemon and Devontae Smith. I don't even know who's their third receiver.
But they signed a bunch of guys, but I think it's going to be Devontae Wicks from Green Bay.
Okay. The guy from
They're
Green
high
Bay.
on him. I mean, he's solid.
Yeah.
They signed Hollywood Brown. They signed a couple guys. Oh, Elijah Moore is their wide receiver 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They signed like those 4 guys in a span of like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was just like wide receiver tryouts, basically.
Yeah, like who's gonna be the third receiver?
Yeah.
So I assume that they'll probably run a lot of 2 tight end sets with 2 receivers. A lot of motion, a lot of play action.
It's gonna look like Green Bay's offense, I think.
Yeah. Is that where Mannion came from?
Yeah, he came from Green Bay, so it's gonna look like that.
I think that benefits Philadelphia so much because they are just better version of Green Bay's offense. Except for wide receivers, I think are comparable now that AJ Brown is gone.
Smitty's a beast, though. Don't sleep on Smitty.
I think Smitty's gonna break out this year.
He's a stud.
I really like Smitty. I think a lot of people say he can't be a wide receiver 1, but I mean,
why? Because he's small. Look at Antonio Brown, bro.
Yeah. Dude's tough as nails, and he won a Heisman Trophy as a wide receiver in college, which doesn't get done very often. You got to be special. To
cream
win a
of the
wide
crop.
receiver. Yeah, to win a Heisman as a wide receiver.
It's wild. Yeah, man. Pittsburgh, big news from preseason week 1. Pittsburgh hammers And remember what happened last time we did extremely well in the preseason? Yeah, that was Kenny Pickett years. And Kenny Pickett led us, the Pickler, Super Bowl winning Pickler, Kenny Pickett, led us to what?
Did they go like 4-0 in the preseason?
Yes, exactly. And so Drew Aller, 2 passing, 1 rushing touchdown. I think he was like 10 of 15 or something like that. So respectable. Will Howard was like 7 of 9, 7 of 10. So good completion percentage. We're throwing the ball over the middle from what I've seen. It's going to be interesting to see the real guys out there post the A-Rod experience. I'm really looking forward to more exciting offense this year, more blitz packages on defense, use the talent that we truly have. And I think we're back, baby. We're back with the new mic.
I got to say, I don't think there is a team that is like more loyal to their backup quarterbacks than the Steelers.
Yes.
Mason Rudolph has been a backup quarterback for the Steelers for like
Well, we let him
now?
go. We let him go for like 1 or 2 seasons, then we brought him back 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And he's been able to sign him. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just funny. It's like I always feel like the backups change with every team. Like
so often.
Mahomes' backup is always different.
We've had a new backup like 3 years in a row, 4 years.
Yeah. But the Steelers, it's like y'all always have the same backups. I mean, you drafted Drew Aller this year, but Will Howard you drafted last year.
Yep.
Mason Rudolph you've had for forever.
Yep. And I think that's partially
Duck Hodges you had for a while.
I think it's partially because we're in QB purgatory. I think we've found guys that fit our system that are like 6-win guys or 5-win guys. You know, they can lead a team to a competent offense, and we win 5 normal games, and then the other 3 games are won by our defense. I mean, quite literally, what was it, last year or 2 years ago? We had 6 turnovers and barely won the football game. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. That's crazy. You know what I mean? And so being in QB purgatory, I think we have to have a good backup option because, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is, 42, 43 at this point? He's hanging on by a thread. But let's hope, man. Hopium is all around us. I'm ready. I'm so ready to see it. First real change in team culture, football team that I've ever experienced as a Pittsburgh fan. Because honestly, you know, I was not really watching football too intently when Cowher was still the coach in, what was it, like 2002 or whatever. I was 5 years old, so first real change, making some moves. Yeah, isn't that wild? Yeah. You guys have gone through full rebuilds like twice. All right.
Carolina's had like, what, 7 or 8 head coaches?
Yes, I mean, at least, right?
Period.
All right, let's do division winners, and then we can kind of say some general takes about college football. Didn't save quite enough time to get into that too heavily this time. And then we'll let you guys go on Tuesday night to go do whatever it is that you do, because there's, just baseball on right now. So we can go watch that. All right, we'll start with the AFC East. We got Bills, Pats, Jets, Dolphins. Bills are -140, Pats are +140, Jets +2,200, Dolphins +4,000.
Bills.
I got the Bills.
Yeah. Bills for me as well. AFC North, Ravens -105, Bengals +175, Steelers +500, Browns +2,200.
Thought you just weren't even gonna read them.
Yeah, I thought Browns aren't even an option. Like, there's no odds on the Browns.
Right.
I feel like Baltimore.
I got a surprise. I think the Bengals will win the division.
Yeah,
this year.
I'm leaning towards the Bengals, but also I think my hatred of the Ravens has something to do with that. I think for me, it's tough seeing Lamar after these historic, MVP level seasons, if he hasn't received the trophy for that year, coming in with a new regime. I don't know how that fits. Will Minter adapt to Lamar, or will Lamar adapted Minter? I think that's the real question. I think if we can see some cohesion there, they might be cooking and they might emerge as one of the top teams in the AFC. Harbaugh was never able to get them over the hump. Will that change this year? I think if Joe Burrow and has a healthy season. I think they've improved a lot on the offensive line and the defense, which was a major concern. I don't know. It's tough to say. I think I'm going to go Bengals.
Yeah, I like the Bengals. The addition of Sexy Dex on that D-line.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, AFC South. Texans plus 115, Jags plus 225, Colts plus 360, Titans plus 900.
Such a weird division.
It's kind of up in the air, I feel like.
Very up in the air. I could see all of those teams. I honestly could see all of them.
I'll start. I mean,
I'm Houston.
You're going
Solid
Houston?
defense.
Houston's defense is filthy. I like Liam Cohen and the Jags. I just think they'll win more regular season games. I think Houston will be more of a contender in the playoffs if C.J. Stroud can figure it out. But I don't know what it is about the Jags, man. I feel like they're fantastic in the regular season. Kind of like Minnesota, maybe. Who you got, Grambo?
I think I got Houston as well.
Houston?
Yeah, their defense. I think they're just I feel like they're one of those teams that's going to be consistently in the playoffs every single year.
Right.
As long as they have that solid defense. I think D'Amico Ryans is a good coach.
Yep.
So.
Yes, good receivers as well. Good point. All right, we got the AFC West. We've got the Chiefs at plus 175, Chargers plus 185, so pretty small spread there. Broncos plus 225, and we've got Raiders at plus 1,600. So AFC West, Grambo. Who you got?
I think I got the Chargers this year.
Chargers.
Yeah. I like the addition of Mike McDaniel. I think Justin Herbert's going to take a step up this year, maybe be MVP candidate. Yeah, I really like the Chargers. I think Amari and Hampton, really good running back. Love me some Lad McConkey. Yeah, I think the defense is really good too. Defense is really underrated. I don't know how healthy Mahomes is going to be to start the season.
Yeah, he's missing a few weeks, isn't he?
Yeah. I think the Chiefs will make the playoffs, but I think the Chargers will win the division.
Yep. Who'd you say, Liam?
I don't really know. I do think Denver's going to drop back.
Yep. Agreed.
I almost want to pick the Chiefs just because I feel like that would be so typical and annoying. The Chargers just can't get over the hump, I feel like.
Curse of the Harbaugh.
Yeah. I mean, I picked the Chiefs I think I picked them to win the Super Bowl last year, so.
Yeah.
Or at least make the Super Bowl.
I think
so,
you did.
You know, that turned out great. So don't pick them this year. They probably will win the division, you know.
Yeah.
But that's just the way it goes.
I'll take Kansas City.
Kansas City. I'm going to go with the Chargers as well. For all the reasons Graham had mentioned, Patty Mahomes not being available, I believe it's the first 6 games of the season. I just think that puts a big dent into their regular season game schedule. All right, NFC East. I mean, I'll start off because I was going to say we'll let Liam wrap it up so you can talk about it. I got the Eagles. I just think they're the best team in this division. Cowboys might make the playoffs as a wild card team, but I got Philly.
Yeah, I think I got Philly as well. Could see maybe a shout. I don't even think the Cowboys. I was thinking the Giants. I think with Harbaugh coming in, if Dart and Scatabo can stay healthy, I think they got a shot of competing at least for a wild card spot. But I do think the Eagles will win the division.
I do think a lot of people think the Giants are going to be better. I don't know. They've just been mediocre so long, so I feel like I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the Eagles' division to win. They broke the curse last year. They won back-to-back divisions, so that's gone.
Yep.
I think they're the best team. Yeah, so I think they win.
Agreed. All right, we got NFC North. Detroit at plus 160. Green Bay plus 250. Chicago plus 300. Minnesota plus 475.
I think I'm gonna take the Bears.
Da Bears. Plus 300.
Like the Lions to bounce back this year. I think I got the Lions.
They lost their magic. He's on
No.
Chicago, and he's on Chicago. That's what I think.
Yeah, but I do think, they don't have was it Sonic and Knuckles anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah, just got Sonic, but I don't know. I like the Lions. I think they'll
They're
bounce
good.
back this year. They're good, but yeah, you're right. Losing Ben Johnson, but I do think the Bears will take a slight step back this year. In second year with Ben Johnson, I do really like the Bears. I think the Packers, they're one of those teams where it's just like you kind of forget about them, but then they're always there when it comes time for
Yep.
the playoffs. So I think they'll somehow sneak into the playoffs again this year.
Yeah, I like the Packers and the Lions for both of the reasons you mentioned. I also think Chicago's going to take a slight step back this year, kind of find their identity. But I think they might be better for it. Settle in Ben Johnson's second year and maybe produce a Super Bowl winning team the next 5 seasons after Caleb Williams has had a chance to develop a tad. Packers, I like Jordan Love. Year 4, 3 of him being a starter-ish, something like that. He's been on the team for like 6 years, right?
Year 4, right?
Year 4 of him being a starter, though.
Yeah, because, well, just think of it in Aaron Rodgers' time. So Rodgers was at the Jets for 2 years, and then this is his second year at
You're right. Yep. Okay.
Pittsburgh. So year 4.
Okay, so year 4 for Jordan Love. You can make an interesting argument for them. However, Detroit Lions, another regular season dominator recently. They've won a lot of games with the exception of last year. They've just been steamrolling, so I'm going to take them. We got the NFC South. Tampa Bay, plus 200. New Orleans, plus 250. Carolina, plus 300. Atlanta, plus 350.
Another toss-up.
Yep.
It's a toss-up, but I love this. I mean, I love my Panthers, but I think the Saints will win the division this year.
I think they will too.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I've had a lot of time to think about it after the last podcast when Graham was shouting out Tyler Shuck and mentioning some of the names on that team that I kind of forgot that they had. We talked about them last year because they were crazy money over the salary cap, even worse than the Browns, I think, if I remember correctly. But somehow finding this dude who can slang the football, and I think they've become a respectable, opponent and football team. So I'm going to agree. I think the Saints are going to win the NFC South, slightly edge out the probably 9-7 Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think they'll probably win 9 games. And the Panthers probably win 8. And so that's going to be a really tight division. But I got the Saints.
Yeah.
So last but not least, this one has a team with the worst odds of winning their division in the league. We've got the LA Rams at minus 105, the Seahawks at plus 225, 49ers plus 325, and the Arizona Cardinals at plus 10,000. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Who we got?
I feel like it's the Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the Rams.
Their division to lose, man.
Yeah. I like the Niners every
Figure them
single
out.
year,
Can't figure them out.
but then I can't figure them out. They always have plenty of injuries, whatever's going on with their stadium, the electromagnetic pulse or whatever, that always causes like at least one of their key players to be out for an entire season. I feel like it's a running joke, but it happens every single year.
Right.
So at some point it's like it's no longer a joke. You got to take this seriously. Like what's going on over there?
Some voodoo shit.
And I also think they had those years where they made the Super Bowl, and I don't really think that much has changed since then. But so I don't really know the reason why they aren't competing at the level that they have been in the past. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's just like the personnel. I don't know what is different because it seems like the players are pretty much the same. Like the core of the team is pretty much the same.
Right.
So, and then the Seahawks, I think, will take a step back this year.
Yeah, for reasons aforementioned. Anything else to cap off the NFL before we get into a little bit of college football and then out of here? You guys got anything else to add?
I don't think so.
No. I mean, I guess we could do Super Bowl predictions. I don't know if you want to leave that till.
Yeah, let's leave that to like
Next.
mid season because I think we
Okay.
gave a pretty good overview of kind of everything that's going on. Collegiate football AP Top 25 poll came out. Let's see what it has to offer. Kind of talk about that a little bit. I honestly have not looked at the transfer portal where all these big guys have been going since the offseason. I've been much more notably involved in NFL stuff, so can't use an ad blocker on that one. Ooh,
Yeah, I feel like I've gotten to the point with
Ad
college
blocker.
football. I just watched the season.
yeah. Let's
Like,
see.
guys transfer over.
Where is it?
Yeah, I kind of followed it a little bit, but just the transfer stuff is so interesting though, because the way that they go about it, there's some shady, sleazy stuff going on
Yeah, there is.
right now in the transfer portal in college football. Like I think I mentioned it in one of the previous podcasts, but the Duke quarterback who Miami like just ripped away from Duke and was like, "Hey, we'll pay you $10 million, come play for us." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And then he ends up transferring to Miami. And it's like these guys are under contract, but they're not under contract.
Yeah.
So it's like they sign for 2 years, but then after 1 year they go off for more money. So it's like they need to implement some sort of system where guys will stay and are contractually obligated to a place because it affects recruiting too. Because you're trying to bring in a 5-star guy and he's like, well, I'm not going to play because this guy's in front of me. And so they can't recruit that guy. He goes somewhere else. And then the guy that was playing, that's starting there, is like, hey, I'm making $2 million, but this other college is offering me $4 million, so I'm gonna go to the other college
Right.
and play there
See ya.
for $4 million.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yep. Yeah, there's no integrity in it anymore. It's hard to blame the kids, though, the athletes in this situation when you're being offered giant sums of money. We definitely talked about him, I think it was 2 years ago when he was the highest paid NIL player at $4 million at Duke before this whole situation happened. So seeing that number jump from 4 to 10 is wild.
Yeah.
Just that whole situation is nuts. All right, I'm going to go through the AP Top 25 really quick. You guys can give me some thoughts on that if you have it, and then we'll talk about our college teams, and then we can hit the sack, fellas. So they got Ohio State at number 1 with 40 votes for the first place spot. They got Oregon with 14 votes. Then they got Georgia with 0 votes at number 3. Then Notre Dame with 6 votes, number 4. Texas with 0 votes, number 5. Indiana with 8 votes at number 6. Miami with 1 vote at number 7. And then the rest of the teams obviously don't have any first place votes. We've got Texas A&M 8, Ole Miss 9, Oklahoma 10, LSU 11, Texas Tech 12, Alabama 13, USC 14, BYU 14 again, should be 15, Michigan 16, Washington 17, Penn State 18, SMU 19, Tennessee 20, Utah 21, Iowa 22, Houston 23, Louisville 24, Missouri 25. So seems like the ACC is kind of up for grabs at this point. Obviously Miami being the dominating force there, but we'll see. Hard to say. It's too early.
Notre Dame's going to be very good. I think they might win it all.
Think so?
They're gonna be
I
very
think
good.
so. Yeah, they're really good. I think Indiana at 6. Obviously, I'm not gonna bet against Kurt Signetti, the new quarterback from Texas Tech this year. I think he's gonna be good. Um, I also think Penn. It's interesting. Penn State at 18. I think having them rated in the top 25. I still think they've got enough players, and Matt Campbell's bringing a lot of his guys over from Iowa State. But yeah, you mentioned it, Tyler. I mean, was there 2 teams from the ACC in the top 25?
Yeah,
Miami and Louisville.
Miami and
It's
Louisville.
Kind of up for grabs.
I guess it's a notable mention that Clemson is ranked 23rd in the AP coaches poll, so they're probably kind of in that conversation. And then I'm sorry, SMU at 19 in the top 25, and they're 20 in the coaches poll. So we've got SMU as well.
Oh, okay.
Conference realignment, baby.
Surprised the ACC champion's not there.
Yeah.
Where's Duke at? No, I'm kidding.
They lost their $4 million man.
Yeah, exactly. They got their quarterback poached. I think at some point this season, Tech's going to end up in the top 25, but I think that'll come later.
I was thinking that
Hopefully.
when I was looking at the rankings that like
Hopefully.
what crop of schools is down there? Like Louisville, even like Missouri. I know they're SEC, but like those are teams that in the past are easily like West Virginia, Tech, Michigan State, like Wisconsin. Like I feel like those are all the teams kind of battling like sneak into that top 25.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, so I can read off the other teams that receive votes behind Missouri at
Like
117.
Tech should be worse than Louisville, you know what I mean? In my mind, like
No, agreed. So they got Clemson with 112, so just behind Missouri. Between Missouri and Louisville, there's 80 points there, so that's pretty large difference. Then we got Florida with 51, Boise State 43, Arizona 32, TCU 11, University of South Carolina with 10, Navy with 10, Illinois 9, Vanderbilt 8, Oklahoma State 8, Pittsburgh 7, Virginia Tech 6, Minnesota 5, UNLV 4, Louisiana 4, New Mexico 4, Georgia Tech 4, James Madison 3, Auburn 3, Memphis 2, California 2, Western Michigan, Tulane, Liberty, and Virginia all with 1. So those are the teams trending down there. And obviously, as you guys know, like this will fluctuate a lot, especially towards the bottom throughout the season. Obviously, we have the meccas at the top, your big name programs, your programs that don't think they need to belong to a conference. Crazy. This is 2026. Pick a conference. I'm sorry. You should be required to join a conference, especially if you want to make choices in scheduling. So, yeah, a lot to see.
Yeah, Notre Dame joined the ACC already. You're in it in every other sport.
That's what I'm saying.
And then you complain that Miami gets picked over you for the playoff last year. They end up going to the national championship game. So I will say I got to give props to Miami because they held their own for the ACC of, an ACC team shouldn't be in the playoff. Miami doesn't deserve it.
Right.
But they also, didn't they play earlier in the season? And Miami beat Notre Dame. So they had the head-to-head over them. Or did Notre Dame beat Miami?
No, I think Miami won.
Yeah, Miami beat Notre Dame. Yeah. So, beat who you play.
That's right.
We won't have any discussions. Beat who you play and join a conference.
Join a conference, end a story. Liam, what about the Mountaineers this year, baby?
I think they'll be like 500.
Bowl game eligible?
Yeah, maybe. Rebuilding under Rich Rod.
Yeah. Any
Back to the Rich Rod days.
Any donors or anything come in? You guys have any money? I feel like McAfee's probably got a.
Yeah, they have some. They've gotten decent amount. I honestly don't know anyone they've signed or anything like that.
It's hard, dude. All these players revolve.
I don't think we have a quarterback, really, is another problem. I feel like in college having a quarterback solves a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like, is that a conflict of interest if you've got a guy who works for ESPN who makes, like $30 million a year with ESPN that's then donating a bunch of money to a university. I feel like that might be a little bit of a conflict of interest. So
ESPN.
they are so
So much.
biased.
And then they help schedule playoff games. Like, of course, they want SEC teams in the playoff. It's just the whole thing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Well, because it's all about ratings. They know where the ratings come. Ratings come from the SEC teams.
Yep. That's the way it is.
That's just kind of the way it is.
Yep. All right, fellas, anything else about college football? And then anything we should leave with the audience before we go for the 10th episode of The Sports Room. I think you guys have been on all 10, or maybe rotated out one. Maybe Graham. I think Liam, you've been on
I think I might have missed one, yeah. I think D Mills filled in for me that
That's
day.
right. That's right, he did.
Yeah.
He did. Boo UVA. Sorry, D Mills, if you're listening. Anything to add before we go?
I just got to say, it feels like we've done this more than 10 times. I guess it has only been 10 times, but I enjoy doing this with you guys, so love to continue to do it.
Oh, 100%. You guys have been involved in more than just the Sports Room podcasts. In the Slanted Attic universe, and obviously more important, you've been involved in my lives for quite a long time. I mean, it's crazy that obviously Graham and I met in college, playing basketball and stuff like that, and then Liam and I met through a mutual friend whose wedding celebration we were at last weekend and got to spend time together. So it's crazy how life brings us together like that, and enjoy chatting sports and ball with the boys,
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's a pleasure, fellas. Always is. And for the 10th episode, had to go over 2 hours, of course. We're pushing 2.5. And I'm going to have a fun time editing this one. I think we did do a fantastic job at not really talking over each other. Got the audio issues figured out. Hopefully sounding delicious for y'all's ears to hear in the near future. So if you're still with us after this 2.5-hour experience, we appreciate each and every one of you following along this journey. It's been 10 Sports Room episodes, probably episode 68 of the podcast. We'll be at 100 soon. You can check us out. SlantedAttic.com is live. I'm currently working on an episode guide. You'll be able to kind of sort through episodes based on your interests. They'll have all the guests in there, and then keywords and things that we talk about in each episode, as well as you can check out each one of these guys on the guest archive on SlantedAttic.com as well. I've asked everybody that's come on here to provide a little tidbit of information into their lives, and they've been kind enough to share it with me for the website, so you can find out a little bit about your guests, maybe more than what they share on the podcast with their vocals themselves. But anyway, you can find us at Slanted Attic on all platforms, social platforms, that is. We don't write books yet, although I've heard that Graham is working on one, and we're excited to read that when the time comes. However, SlantedAttic.com, at Slanted Attic, the Slanted Attic experience. Thanks, guys, for sticking with us for this long, and we'll see you on Sports Room number 11 next time. Hopefully when the Steelers are like 10-3, bro. Would love that.
Yeah.